Hello, geometry students. I hope we all had a pretty good break. You're coming back. Uh, Before we did the trig project, the last lesson we did was translations. We talked a little bit about them. We didn't go too much into them, but we're going to start diving into translations. Uh, Transformations in general. Now first thing we're doing is translation. A translation is a movement, okay? So translation, you can think of it like, let me get a different pen. Let's go orange. I'm in orange mood today. A translation means you move up, down, left, or and right. So it's just a movement. So when we're looking at all these things, some of these things to consider here is, well, we don't have graph paper. If you can print this up, that's great. It'll probably help you a little bit. This one in particular, don't even bother. Yeah, I'm not even going to bother printing this one up. This one's too small. They just give you a little piece of graph paper. You have graph paper lying around, you could do this. But let's get into a little bit of the terminology here. First thing I see, the translation image of LMN, which is right here, they give us this image, is LMN, but there's these little marks here, here, and here. This means prime. Those little marks there, and there mean prime. Mean this is the image. Okay? This was the pre-image. So they're saying it goes from this to this, with L prime being 1, -2, M prime being 3, -4, and N prime being 6, -2. What is a rule that describes this translation? Okay, so I don't like this one because they should have given you the coordinates here. So for LMN, the general ones, let's write them out. So point L, point M, and point N. I'm going to write these out. I'm going to write the coordinates of each one of these points. There's 1, 2, 3 points. So point L, looking here, well, let's see, it's -6 in the x direction. Remember, we always do x comma y. And it's -1 in the y direction, because here's 0 and we go down 1. So it's over 6, 6, down 1. This is the original position of these things. This is the first triangle. M is 1, 2, 3, 4 in the negative direction. Then we do the y, and it's down -1, -2, -3. Okay, they're pretty well labeled. And then N in the x direction is -1. It's just 1 over if you look. Go from 0, go 1 over from the origin. And you go down 1, so that's how it started. Now, the question they have here, which is very, very, very interesting, is these all make a change. All 3 of these points. And they become L prime, M prime, and N prime. Now, if you remember, a translation, we said in the last lesson, is an isometry, which means it keeps the same shape and same size. So when this moves, it will be exactly the same shape, just in a different position. It'll be the same size, the same shape, in a different position. Now these, I'm going to use here their information. 1, -2. They give me this up here in the directions. M plus 3, -4. And finally, N is 6, N prime, 6, -2. Now here's what I'm going to do. Now I'm going to tell you a little secret to this problem. This is kind of like a trick. So I'm going to say T, the translation, I'm going to give a little bit of a rule here, right? So here's what my translation rule is going to be. Well, if let's look at this point L. Its new point, L prime, is going to be 1, negative 2. It's going to be over there. 1 over negative 2 down. So it's going from here to here. Let's use a different color for this, because now things aren't getting interesting. So I'll make it like a bullseye. So it's going to go from here to here. Well, what is that movement? Well, that movement is, if I was walking, I would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in the positive direction. So I'm going to say it right here. T is x, whatever the x was, plus 7. That's the translation. It's going over 7. Now the question is, how many does it go down? So I'll use blue for down. Well, it just goes from here to here. But that's in the negative direction. Because you're going down, that is negative. So that means our y direction is y, whatever y is, minus 1. Now here's the thing is, does this work for all of them? And it should. You don't have to write this 3 times. You really just have to write it once if it's true. If I'm going from negative 4 to positive 3, what's the change? Well, if I went from positive 3 is somewhere right about here. So negative 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Same thing, x plus 7. And the other thing is 3, negative 4 is what it becomes. Oh, so it's negative 3 to go from negative 3 to negative 4. Negative 3 to negative 4 is just going down 1. So it's the same thing. These are all the same, if you'll see that. So if it's a translation, they're all moved. They say preserves isometries. So this is still congruent. This is still the same shape. It looks like it was taken here and moved here, kind of off our graph. So the new triangle is probably something, I'm guessing, looks something like that, along those lines. That's not bad. Okay, so we know same shape, same size. Now, why is this important? Well, because we can use it. Let's say I want to do the same translation. I'm going to make a point up. I'm going to, let's see, get a nice color. I'm going to get a red. Red's not going to come up. Pink, purplish pink. This point. What's the translation? Using the same translation, where did this point move? Well, that's easy. This point, we'll call it point G for geometry. So point G, it is negative 2 in the x direction, and then negative 1, 2, negative 3 in the y direction. Now to make G prime, I have to do this. I have to go x, well my x is negative 2 plus 7. My y is negative 3 minus 1 from our rule. Negative 2 plus 7 is 5. Negative 3 minus 1 is negative 4. So this new thing is somewhere out over here beyond that graph, but we did it now mathematically. What I would teach you normally, if we had graphing paper, and if you can get your hands on graphing paper, not a bad idea for the next week or so if you have some laying around the house. It's a good thing to remember that Staples is also open. So if you live near a Staples or an Office Depot, those are still open. Those are still considered essential businesses, so they are open. You could get it there, but this will help. So G prime is just 5, negative 4. I did it mathematically. Now how I would teach you to do it graphically would be to do something like this, like to graph the 2 points, graph this one, and then count over like that. But it's hard to do it if you don't have graph paper. So I'll keep doing this mathematically, but understand that this is what you could do. Okay, so let's get to the next one.